All right. What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about how you can break your bad food habits so you can lose and keep weight off once and for all. Now, the reason why I want to make this training today, guys, is because if you ever think about it, if you look at back in your past when you try to lose weight, right? Like, why was it unsuccessful? Like, why did it really not work out? Most of the time, it's because we didn't develop the proper food habits to actually sustain ourselves, right? Like fad diets, shakes, pills, stuff like that, where it'll get us good results. It'll get us like quick results, but it doesn't change our food habits, right? So the second that we stop doing that temporary plan or that temporary approach, what happens is that we go right back to our old ways. And those old ways is what's caused the weight to gain in the first place, right? So that's why I want to make this train today, because if that pattern keeps going, it's going to be the yo-yo cycle for the rest of your life. And it's so frustrating, right? Nobody wants to struggle with their weight for the rest of their lives, right? That's why you guys are all here, because you want to change, you want to work on yourselves, you want to feel better, do better, fit in those jeans, have more energy for your kids, whatever it is. You all want that. So I hope this training helps you. And all I ask is that today, if this does help you, these 3 quick steps, all I ask that you like and you subscribe and maybe even share it to a friend who's dealing with the same thing. That's it. All right. So without further ado, who are you listening to? My name is Caden Hayward, the CEO and founder of Coach Hayward. We coach specifically women 40 plus on how to lose their weight, optimize their bodies, their hormones, and permanently keep the weight off, make it a lifestyle and not a diet. So over the years, I've talked to thousands of people over the years, but also to help personally over 200 plus people in the last about 4 years or so. So that's a little bit about me. So let's dive in here. So 3 main steps here, guys. This is a 3-step formula that I researched quite a long time ago, and it works just so well. It works so well. And here's my promise for you, all right, is that if you fully take action on this process and you do not give up and you give yourself 1 year, you will come out of this year, and I guarantee you, you will not have any bad food habits. I guarantee you. And it's going to happen way quicker than a year, by the way. But I want to give you that time frame because a lot of people they self-sabotage in their journeys because they don't give themselves enough time. And what I mean by that is that they will give themselves like, okay, I'm going to try to lose this 20 pounds immediately. And then they don't get results for a month. They don't get results in 2 weeks, and they throw in the towel. And it's like, you could have been on the right path. There could have been water retention, your cycle, something just holding you back, right? And another thing too is that we cannot expect, to break these old habits if we dealt with them our whole lives. So that's why I say give yourself a year, because that's 1 year of your life. That is like 1% of your life. That's 2-3% of your life, maybe. It's really nothing. To be able to live the rest of your life free of bad food habits, like that's crazy, right? That's a huge goal. And you will accomplish this goal way quicker. Like I've noticed my clients, that's usually around the 3 to 5 months range is when they really like make the shift, I call it. But give yourself a year just so that way you have that leeway room. So if you mess up, you don't have to be so hard on yourself and tear yourself apart, right? Like self-sabotage. So that's going to change your life, though. I promise you, if you do implement this and actually implement it and stick with it, you will notice changes, and you are going to feel so much better coming out of this. Because imagine what that can do for you if you can wake up every day and you don't feel guilty from the day before, you don't feel like extremely bloated because you binge ate, you don't feel like you just ruined all your results, you don't feel terrible about yourself, you don't feel like food controls you your whole life. Imagine what that's going to do for you. That's everything. That's huge. Very, very good for your health as well. So let's dive in here, guys. So the very first thing here to solving any kind of problem is we got to reflect, right? We got to reflect. Why does this happen? Where is this happening? What events cause this? What are my triggers? What time of the day? What days does it typically happen? How does this truly affect me? We need to get deep, and we need to get to the root of the problem. Why is this going on? Are you stress eating? Are you having these bad food habits because that's how your family grew up and you developed those habits? Or maybe your mom was a lifetime dieter and she installed those unhealthy food habits into you. What is the root of the problem, right? Where did this come from? Did your family always make fun of you and call you fat growing up? So then you would starve yourself all day and then binge eat at nighttime. Is that what you thought how to lose weight? Was if you starve yourself, but then that would backfire because then maybe you binge eat later on? Is it just the way you cope with your stress because you never had other different ways to cope with stress, so you turn to food? What is it? We need to reflect upon it. Okay, so this is going to be a quick training today, guys. So we need to reflect upon it. What is going on? Where does it happen? Why does it happen? So the easiest way to do this is write down for a whole week. Okay, track yourself for a whole week, guys. So for a whole week, I want you to just reflect every day. Have a journal that you write in every single night and just reflect upon it with your eating. Make it your eating diary. All right. And remember, you got to do this for yourself. You got to do this for yourself. You got to love yourself enough to say, I need to change this. I want to do better. I want to feel better. I'm going to put the time and do it right now and get it done with. So every night, you sit down and reflect. Okay, so what am I doing? So last night or this morning, I skipped my breakfast and I ended up eating fast food for lunch because I was so hungry and I didn't have my lunch packed. How did that make me feel? I felt very terrible. My energy was horrible. I felt super bloated, but most importantly, I felt bad about myself because I did that to myself. Write it down, get real with it, put all the details in, and then track that every single day. You're going to come out of the week and you're going to reflect upon all the days. And what you'll notice is that there's going to be a pattern. Okay, there's more than likely going to be pattern. If not, you're going to notice all the specific days and events that cause you to give into the bad food habits. So now we reflected. Now what we can do is we can replace it, right? So when it comes to replacing it, we just got to swap it out. Okay, the way I want you guys to think about this is think about it like don't think about it like this is who you are. This is just a problem, a challenge you're dealing with. But every challenge has a solution. And if it doesn't have a solution, don't worry about it, right? But this one does have a solution, okay? So every problem has a solution, all right? In this specific event. So we got to replace it now. All right, so now we just need to replace it because here's the way your brain works when it comes to habit, guys, is that at a very young age, I'll just explain it really quickly, is at a very young age, up till about 7, your brain's wide open, okay? You have mirroring neurons, which means like whatever you're seeing is what you take into the world. That's where all your belief, your trauma, habits, everything sucks in. Then we have what we call our subconscious mind. We live about 94 to 96% of our lives in our subconscious mind. This is basically robot mode. This is how you can drive to work in the morning and not pay attention. It's how you can do many things like brushing your teeth and you don't even remember it. You just do it automatically like a robot. It's because it's in your programming. It's in your subconscious mind, and that's where you're functioning. Because if you consciously had to make all these decisions all the time and brush my teeth and I got to breathe and I got to drink water, like if you always had to remember to do all these things, you're going to be very exhausted. So the reason why we develop habits is to keep ourselves safe and also to save energy, to preserve energy, right? Because that way we can use our energy when we're conscious, when we really need it. So we're only conscious, a very small part of the time. So that's why we need to build our habits, right? Because a lot of time we do things that we don't even recognize. And it's like, whoa, like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? What the heck? Like, what is going on there? Reflect on that, guys. It's pretty cool. So we got to replace that because what happens is that if you want to change your habits, you need to interrupt the pattern. And the hardest part about this is that people forget about it and then they fall off track or they forget why they started and they go back to old habits because the brain doesn't want to change. Like we don't want to change. Our brains don't want us to change because our habits are safety mode. It's what's normal and comfortable to us, right? So anything external is scary and immediately in our brains, it's like death, you're going to die. We're not actually going to die, but that's the way we're designed because we're meant to survive, right? That's how our brains are. So it's very interesting, but it's very, it sucks because it goes against us in a way, right? When it comes to bad food habits, if we have bad food habits from childhood, whatever it may be, stress eating, college, stuff like that, right? And food is such a comforting drug. So yeah. So anyways, so we got to replace it. Okay, because what happens is that if you go in and if you look at your brain, it has different neurons and little pathways will start to form. So for example, I like to say if let's say, you have a kid and they're trying to ride a bicycle and they're trying to hit a jump, right? And at first they crash and they crash and they crash and they crash. Let them learn because eventually what's going to happen is that their brain is going to be like, okay, I'm so sick of crashing. This person's not giving up. We got to figure this stuff out, okay? Because if not, we're going to keep crashing. So we gotta figure this out. We got to be able to hit this jump. We got to know how to land it. And one day your kid's going to keep doing it and practicing, and eventually they're going to land it, and then it's going to click because now they have the patterns that connect. So it's just they have the ability to do it, right? It's like riding a bicycle. You learn step by step and you get better and better and better. And eventually you don't need training wheels because you can drive it, just like driving a car. So it's little things like that. It takes practice, and eventually those those connections will form, And that will be who you are. That will be the new connection. It will be the new normal. That's why I say, like, it's okay if you hate working out to start. Do it anyways, because eventually one day it's gonna be like nothing. One day it's gonna be like showing up to your home, your second home, and you're gonna actually look forward to it because you feel so good after it, and you notice and you realize the benefits, and you look back at all your hard work and realize it paid off. So you want to keep it going. That's me personally. Like, I hate it working out. I hate it working out. And now I couldn't go 2 to 3 days without it because it's just so much of who I am and it's what I love to do now. So it's very, very cool how this happens, because you might think right now, like, how did that ever happen? Like, I'm not going to ever like eating healthy. Eating healthy is gross. It sucks. I was the same way. I was the person who ate Pop-Tarts and mini pizzas for breakfast. Okay. You couldn't see me eating steak or nothing like that. I didn't care for it. I didn't know about it. All right. But once I actually shifted my habits and I stuck consistent with it, I enjoy it. Now that old food, it makes me feel like crap and I don't want to eat it. Isn't that crazy? How much of a shift we can make in such a quick amount of time? Like, you guys are so powerful. The reason why we don't notice this though is because we don't change much, right? But this works. This works very powerful. Okay. Excuse me. So guys, we gotta replace it. Okay, so let's say, for example, if it happens at night, let's say if you're single, you're lonely at nighttime, you have nobody around you, and that loneliness, that depression is kind of bugging you, right? This is just examples. I would suggest join a group, go do a hobby or work out in the evenings. Do something good for yourself at nighttime. Don't sit around there and suffer and struggle and be lonely. Get out in the world. That way you're exiting the environment. Okay, you're being busy, so you're not going to be eating because you're doing activities, and that's going to help you break the pattern. And you'll feel better because you're socializing. Next one here is stress eating after work. Very common one for moms, realtors, a lot of like people like that, high in stress jobs. Stress eat after work. Okay, let's say as soon as you get off work, you go home, you're hungry, you start eating the kids' snack and snacks before supper. Okay, well, now we reflect upon it. We know what's going on. We know where the stress is coming from. It's work. So now let's replace it. So here's what we're going to do. As soon as you're done work, you're going to go for a walk or go to the gym. As soon as you get done work, get to the gym, work out, move your body. It might not completely take the stress away, but it will do it enough to where you won't want to stress eat, and you'll feel so much better about yourself that you're going to want to keep doing more good for yourself. Another thing you can do is that if you know that happens, is that at work, bring protein powder, and as soon as you're done your shift, gulp down a protein shake. That's going to kill your cravings. That's going to keep you full and on track. Okay, but I also would recommend still do something for your stress, like meditation, take a bath as soon as you get home, yoga, movement, just a 10-minute walk, jog. Like my mentor says, Dan Martell, he says, exhaust the body so you can tame your mind. Such a cool quote, and it's so true. Okay, so that's how we replace it, guys. So again, if you keep eating fast food, well, let's reflect upon it. Oh, the reason why I eat fast food at lunchtime is because I'm not prepping my lunch. I'm waking up too late and I'm skipping breakfast. So by the time lunch comes around, I'm starving to death, and I go get fast food. Okay, and then let's say this type of person will usually say, well, I don't eat much, but I still gain weight. But it's not about how much, like, how many meals you're having. It's about the calories, right? And fast food typically has tons of calories. So this person, what they want to do, okay, well, let's wake up a little bit early in the morning. Let's have a high protein breakfast. Let's prep that lunch and get it on track. And then that way you can break the pattern and just stay consistent with that. Mind you guys, when it comes to stuff, you got to do one at a time. It's so much easier to do one at a time if you're on your own, because trying to change everything overnight is going to be a disaster, especially if you're on your own. So one thing at a time here, and you can slowly check them off your checklist. So that food diary that I mentioned at the first, take all the little struggles you have, check one off at a time, check one off at a time. And that's how you'll break your bad food habits. So let's talk about the last one here, which is reinforcement. Okay, this is when you reward yourself for the positive actions. You think about the positives, you feel great about it, you stack those wins, you keep breaking the pattern, you keep consistent, and you don't self-sabotage. I will promise you two things. Number one is that you will mess up. Number two is that if you don't quit, you will make it, and you will get to where you want to go. Okay, that's the two promises. That's the two guarantees that's going to happen here. You won't be perfect overnight, guys, and it's all good, but you got to get back up when you mess up. Because if not, you'll go back to your patterns and things will keep going the same way. And then maybe you'll want to try to change it again one day. But when you mess up, you'll go back to patterns. So you got to give it time. And that's why I said give it a year, because you'll get there way before a year. But give yourself a year. Have a different expectation. Okay. And I promise you again, if you stick with this, if you keep working on this, you will break it. You will get there 100%. It will happen 100%. It's just the way this works. Okay. So that's training for today. So reflect, replace, reinforce. Remember what to do. Start with the food diary, reflect for the whole week, get very deep, get to the root of the problem. Number two is work on things to replace it. Okay, how do we replace this pattern? What are like 2 to 3 things that you can do to replace the evening eating or to replace the stress eating? And then you take those 3 things and you implement and you implement and you implement and you work on, you work on, you work on. When you do it for a couple of weeks, reward yourself. Go buy yourself some gym shoes. Go buy a new gym outfit, something positive. Don't go get fast food or a cheat meal. Get something that's going to be more positive and reinforce this new habit, okay? And then keep consistent with it. And guess what? One day you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to spend your whole day, you're going to crush your whole day, and you're going to just have this random flashback like, holy crap, not too long ago, I was just stress eating every single day. I was extremely bloated at bedtime. I wasn't sleeping well. I had horrible energy. I was up 30 pounds and I was miserable. And now I'm lost this weight. I'm in control of my food and I'm healthier. I'm off medication. I feel so much better. Wow. That's what's going to happen to you. Look forward to that every single day, because I promise you, when you do wake up like that, it's the best feeling in the world. It's the best feeling in the world. All right. So today, team, that's the training for today's Siege family. So if you got some value, if this helped you out, make sure you leave a like and subscribe below as well. It helps me so much. Just in the past week, guys, we've grown by like over 50 plus subscribers. That's amazing. Like, thank you guys so much. I'm glad to see that you guys are liking these videos. I will keep doing them because I love doing them for you. And lastly, is that if you're stuck, if you're struggling for months on end now, you can apply below for help. There's no guarantee that you're going to sign up or anything, but take that step forward if you need help, because the last thing you want to do is continue to struggle. All right. So you can apply below in the description. There's a link there. All right. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Keep crushing it. I'll see you guys on the next training.